really basic that everyone's tried before, but then give your review on it.
Like ASMR videos before we do the podcast, and it's just Caleb eating a different snack every day.
It's a lull everybody in, and then
Pretzel with honey
pretzels.
mustard dressing.
Oh.
Did you just say pretzel?
Yogurt pretzels.
Both of you describing a
I
pretzel.
got pretzels on the mind,
I guess
man.
so.
Apparently, that's the deal. I didn't know pretzels was such a hot item.
Wait to
around
go
here.
back to Germany and get the legit
Like
pretzels.
with the pumpkin seeds on top of them. Oh my god,
No, we're not messing around this year.
that is the business.
Welcome to Pretzel Talk here on Digital Trends. All right. Welcome to Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly roundtable podcast where we talk about the latest stories in technology, and we broadcast this live on Facebook and YouTube. So as we're coming in live right now, we want you guys to be a part of this show. So we've got tons of things that we're going to get to today. Everything from Elon Musk's new company where he wants to merge you with a computer, and whether basically that's what it comes down to, and whether or not you would do it. We're going to talk about the most genius use of a drone probably ever, the best use of drone technology that you can use at your house. We're going to talk about the ISP issue, and we're going to talk about the newest phone, the Samsung Galaxy S8. So keep your comments coming in there. If you have something specific you want to address, we'll definitely get to that. I'm Greg Nibbler, and let's introduce our cast of characters here today. To my right,
I'm Drew Prindle.
you are Drew Prindle, a pretzel lover, apparently.
Yes, pretzels with pumpkin seeds on them.
Pumpkin seeds. That's such a random
haven't had
thing.
that.
Yeah.
They're the bomb.
Okay.
Get
All
after
right.
them. Find them. Go to your local bakery.
Or just head on down to Berlin and
Yeah.
Or pretzel talk. All right. And continuing around,
Holly Smith.
Holly Smith. Excellent. Holly, your stance on pretzels?
I need to try them with pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
Apparently.
Clearly,
Aoife.
that's the big
Aoife.
issue.
Yeah.
All right. And down on the end.
the whiskey mist. I'm Caleb Dennison, and it's good to be back with you today.
Excellent. I love how everybody in the last two episodes, everybody's getting radio names now. Last week, R-Dubs was nicknamed Pornhub 27. So that's his new radio name.
I hope that sticks. I didn't hear about that.
That's why I
fantastic.
brought it back up again. I want to make
He
sure it
is
doesn't go away.
perfect for nicknames. You know, I mean,
He really is.
built for it.
Yeah, so Pornhub 27 and the whiskey mist right down here on the end. So everybody will get a name. All right, let's get to our first story here. Let's talk about this, the Samsung Galaxy S8. You know, the big unveiling came out this week. We've heard a lot about it over the last year or so, especially Samsung. I think they were probably putting out a lot of these rumors to kind of quell some of the S7 talk. But we all know what happened last year. We all know what happened with the phones that exploded. This is not what they're going for right now. The S8, it's, I mean, I got to say, I've watched some of the videos. Digital Trends had some great coverage of the unveiling. The phone looks pretty incredible. It looks pretty amazing to me. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. Like, we know some of the rumors, some of the things that were confirmed, you know, that we kind of knew before, but no home button. They do have a regular headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is nice. I think that
I'm into that.
Yeah, so the
headphone jack.
regular headphone jack. We've got it's waterproof still with the regular headphone jack, so that's kind of cool. 30 minutes, I think, up to 1 meter underwater. It's got Bluetooth 5.0. Which Bluetooth, I didn't know that much about Bluetooth 5.0, but 100 feet in a room you can go with this thing, and 350 feet or something like that outside. So pretty incredible stuff. And as we have the comments rolling in here, people are talking about it too. I'm curious what you guys think about this. How do you feel about the Samsung Galaxy S8? Is this something you're going to buy? Holly, I know you got the latest iPhone, which if you can watch the video right now, there was an accident last week that apparently over the weekend that we won't talk about.
How is that?
So you're in the market for a new phone.
I'm in the market for a new screen.
Okay, not a new phone. Well, what do you think? Is this something, is Galaxy S8 something that, are you interested in this? Is it enough?
I think I'm probably going to chill with my Galaxy S6 until it dies.
Yeah.
But I am a fan of the Samsung Galaxy S series.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe in
Is
the
it worth
future.
$750 for you?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
I'm just not the guy who does that, I guess. I don't
Okay.
tend to spend a lot of money on new phones. But it looks really, really nice. And, yeah.
Okay, and that's about it. Caleb, what do you think about this?
I think the most interesting thing about the phone is actually not the phone itself, but the dock that you can connect it to. So there's this little hockey puck looking thing, like a thick hockey puck. You dock the phone to it. It runs HDMI up to like a computer monitor or TV screen or whatever. You can also plug in a wireless mouse, keyboard through using a USB ports, and support for it's a little on the limited side right now because you can, but it puts up a desktop that looks a lot like Windows, and in fact you can run some Windows apps using like Citrix and something else. And also, it'll give you access to your Android apps. Now, not a lot of those apps are optimized for large screen usage. It's kind of like the same issue with a Chromebook right now. If you use a lot of apps on a Chromebook, it looks like the cell phone version on the Chromebook, and so it's small and the layout is weird and it's just not optimized for it. But I mean, it's a super powerful phone. And if you, let's say you do a lot of travel and you go to your remote office, like we hop over to our office in New York, it would be great to have this puck instead of full on laptop. You could just hook up, you do a little bit of email, get a little tiny bit of work done. WordPress, I'm sure, would work just fine on it, and then, so I think that's a nice evolution. I'm also interested in Bixby a little bit. Bixby, if you're not familiar, is kind of like Samsung's own version of a Siri or Alexa or OK Google. And there's not a lot of support for it right now, but they're really pressing on it hard. So I think they actually came up with some new ideas and folded them into the phone. It is a gorgeous phone. Not an Android guy. I don't feel like this is the one that's going to make me switch. For whatever reason, I tend to lean towards the LG G6 a little bit, but apparently it does really great things with low light photos, and it's just, it's a great phone overall. I think it'll do well, and I think the big question is, can Samsung get past the bad rep it developed with the exploding battery thing? And
I think I said S7 just to clarify. I meant Note 7.
Yeah, the Note 7.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about the fact that the Samsung store in Singapore went up in flames.
Yeah, but I thought about bringing that up right before it went on sale too, right before it was released.
It's got to be tough for them. But yeah, I mean, it's a good looking phone. Yeah. But I think that when the new iPhone comes out, it's just gonna, I don't know, I think it's gonna crush it this year.
And that's what I wanted to get to. Is this enough for you to, like, if you're in the market for a new high end phone right now, are you going to go for the Galaxy S8 or are you going to wait for the new iPhone? Is this just not enough yet to overcome that? And taking a look at some of the comments here, Rick says, so far always Apple for me. This is on YouTube. Cass says, change that iPhone for an S8. Holly's one that just got dropped.
As long as it has a screen that won't shatter, then I think Holly should jump ship and switch to Android.
Do it. And then somebody was asking about the release date. It's out now, right?
Is it?
I believe you can purchase it,
pre-order
it.
as of
April
last night, and the 21st in America and the 28th for Europe.
Thank you for clarifying that. Pre-order is out right now. Yeah, so you can pre-order it right now. And I'm sure Digital Trends is going to get one to do a full review on soon. As far as getting
HDR too.
HDR
from the TV guy, of course. I got to mention that it's got an HDR screen, which a lot of people are going, "What does that matter?" It does. It absolutely matters. The fact that you can go on to Netflix or Amazon or Vudu and watch movies in HDR is actually going to be a really great experience. Less so in a bright sunny day, but even on the plane, I think it's gonna really give a picture that pops. You're going to have a wider degree of brightness, better contrast. The color's going to be a little bit more accurate. And I'm stoked to see that that kind of TV tech filtering down to phones. LG was first with the G6 and Dolby Vision HDR, but this is the HDR10, that open standard that's pretty much everywhere. And I think that's kind of cool.
Is this the first phone that does that?
No. LG G6 does Dolby Vision, which is a different version of HDR and available from the big streamers. But I mean, Samsung, they're making this very much like their TVs in the display category. So I think it's going to look great.
Which is cool. I mean, a lot of people watch things on their phone more than anything else anyway as you're traveling along, especially if you're in a city and commuting, on a train or anything like that. You're going to be watching it on there. So I think that's definitely a selling point for me. This is the closest I've come to actually wanting to pay a lot of money for a phone because I'm like Holly, I break them constantly. I don't know if Holly breaks them constantly. I break them constantly.
That much money though, so it's not like
if you're buying a phone
today,
surprising.
It's going to cost you $600-700.
I'm pretty sure I saw the next iPhone kind of by accident.
Really?
At an event in CES.
Okay.
Because Rich can vouch for me here. We saw the S8.
Do I need to mask your voice for saying
this
or something?
No, it's okay.
This is Whiskey Miss. This is not Caleb talking about this right now.
No, we saw the S8. This is exactly what we saw. And so I'm pretty sure that what was sitting next to it was the next iPhone. And because it was, the display manufacturer. And And so I think that people are going to be equally impressed with the aesthetic of the next iPhone.
Okay.
So right now, the S8 is super sexy and top of the heap, but I think the iPhone's going to come in and steal a little bit of its thunder. That's my prediction.
So did
Okay.
you just like walk into a room and just be like, oh, oops. not
Yeah,
supposed to
how
be
did that
in here?
happen? How do you accidentally
I gotta
leave
hear
the
this
iPhone
story.
out?
I was in a private room that had a bunch of next-gen technologies in it, and we saw prototypes of the new phones. And we were pretty sure that's what we were seeing, but we couldn't talk about it, couldn't take pictures. And it was one of those things where, the honor system, they let us in there because we promised to keep it to ourselves. And so it wasn't going to be responsible for us to pipe in and say, guess what we just saw, It kind of defeats the purpose, So, yeah. But now that one is out, I think it's fair to say I think I know what the next iPhone's going to look like, and I think it's going to be just as sexy.
Just as sexy.
Phones get.
All right, as sexy as a phone can be, from straight from the whiskey mist's mouth. All right, so there we go. Keep your comments coming in if we are live on Facebook and YouTube, like I said, and let us know, what you think, if this is going to be enough for you to purchase it. We've got a few other things we're going to get to today too, and as I said, the best use of drone technology ever is coming up on this show. We're going to talk about Elon Musk's new venture outside of what he has been doing before, trying to move us into the Matrix, and let's talk about this other thing now. So this has been obviously a hot topic over the last week, and I think probably a lot of us watching, I'm sure there's some of you that are watching and listening right now that already know all about this, but I think there's a lot of people that Googled what is a VPN over this last week.
Yep.
And there's even been studies about how much it's gone up in search engines as far as VPN. And here's the basic story of this. The Congress has rolled back a provision that was going to go in place from the FCC that would have kept ISPs from selling your data to third-party vendors. Is that pretty much correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Sounds like I nailed that. It's taken a little bit trying to understand how that works.
Give yourself a pat on the back,
Thank
Greg.
you. Yeah,
Good
so
job.
I'll dub in some clapping behind that. So that's what happened over this last week, meaning ISPs like Comcast or Verizon or AT&T or wherever you go through, they collect third-party data. They collect your data. When you go browse somewhere, you may think that your private browser is saving you from that. It's really not. They know what you're doing, that their servers collect that information, and now they are going to be free to sell that information to marketing agencies however they want to do it. This what would have happened is it would have been protected starting in November, where they wouldn't have been allowed to do that. Now, Google and Facebook already do this, but we know that. You know that when you go there, that they're collecting your data. You see the ads pop up. They know what you're doing. Now, the fact that this has been rolled back, there are ways to protect yourself, and that is a VPN, a virtual private network. And that's what I think everybody's been trying to research over this last couple of days. And if you have recommendations and you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, please drop those in there right now. And so essentially, it's how to go about a VPN is you connect to a remote server and then you browse from there. It encrypts the data so your ISP cannot see what it is that you're doing. For the first time ever, I'm actually going to sign up for one myself. I've never done it before. I never thought I had to worry about it. Drew, do you use a VPN?
Occasionally. I used to have a subscription to one a while ago when I was doing more illegal things on the internet than I probably should have been.
Torrent.
That and back when like the Silk Road was an active thing. Definitely used a VPN for that. Didn't want anybody to know about it. I think one of my roommates has a VPN that we can all log into at some point. But yeah, it's a smart thing to have. If you haven't looked into it, you should. It's just nice to know that they're not watching you.
Right.
And your history isn't being collected.
But I mean, the other thing is, using a VPN helps completely. But we also have been having our data collected by Google and Facebook. And I'm sure a lot of you are you're on Facebook right now, or you're using a YouTube product if you're watching this live. So, a Google product. So, they're collecting that data. Mm-hmm. And this has been going on forever. Has that really mattered to you? Is this actually something we really should worry about? I mean, if you're doing what Drew's doing online, obviously you should be concerned. But for anybody else,
the thing that gets me is you kind of know what you're getting into when you use Google services because they say straight up, yeah, we're going to use your data and stuff.
Yeah.
But with this, it's everything. It's absolutely everything that you do on the internet. It's not just, your emails in Gmail or your YouTube history or anything like that. It's every single thing that you do on the internet, which is a little disconcerting.
Here's the problem. It's exactly that. This is a slippery slope. And it's not just when they have access to the data, if they're less when these protections are removed from us, what's next? Who's going to come knocking on the door of the ISP and saying, listen, we need to know a little bit about what Drew's been up to for the last couple of months.
Yeah,
Hand this over, and they'll just be like, well, we sell it to everybody else, so might as well give it to you, FBI or Department of Homeland Security or whatever. So that's the problem I have, is that I feel like this is opening the door to even less privacy down the road. And the implications of it, I don't think we really understand what's going on. I have definitely let my online privacy go. I haven't been diligent about it. And I think like a lot of other people, have maybe been thinking about maybe a VPN would be a good idea. I definitely am thinking about it now. I think it sucks that you have to spend money to buy your privacy anymore. Here's a funny thing. A lot of people don't realize that at one point, AT&T, they required people to opt out of having their stuff shared, and it was going to cost more money. So what I think
it cost you more if you opted out?
That's right.
Wow.
So what we may see here is that ISPs will provide a service that basically protects your browsing, it's like they're putting a VPN on their own internet service, and you spend that money with them as opposed to going to a third-party VPN.
That's ridiculous.
I should mention, too, a lot of people don't know this, but Digital Trends has like a shop where you can find a lot of cool deals, right? So if you go to shop.digitaltrends.com, there we have right now from VPN Unlimited, you can get lifetime VPN services for $40 right now. It's one of the better deals out there. Yeah. Or you can go for 3 years for $19. The standard rate is like $12 a year. And prior to this, I think they advertised their unlimited VPN for life at something like ridiculous, like $400 or something like that. So $40 for a lifetime deal. I mean, you're going to drop $40, on dinner next week. Why not protect yourself for the rest of your life? I can't speak for how good of a VPN it is, because this is basically getting in the way of you and the internet, right? And so it depending on how many servers an individual VPN has, their service has, then it could slow down your browsing experience a little bit.
It generally does a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean,
because you're being routed somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're streaming Netflix, it might, the buffer might take a little bit long. And also, you want to know how much control you have over the VPN. You can actually specify where it makes you appear to be surfing from, right? And a lot of people will use this so that they can watch Netflix out of the UK, a different country, and get access to a lot of programming way earlier than you'll see it here in the U.S. There are a lot of shows here in the U.S. that we have to wait a full year until the season's over, and then they post it later. But they're incrementally adding those shows, for the services overseas. So,
way to get around that.
Yeah, there's more to a VPN than just privacy. It kind of lets you play some tricks with the internet. But I'm definitely going to get one. I have to do it, especially if there's another deal out there like that where you can get lifetime VPN for a reasonable rate. I'll give it a shot. I just kind of want to shop around. And I think review sites like ours are going to really need to start digging into these various different VPN services and talking about how good they are, how easy they are to use, because the shopping for VPN is going to be off the hook now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody's Googling this. Christian just brought a point, though, about needing a VPN for ISPs versus like Facebook, Google. Said an important distinction is that you can choose not to use Facebook, which is free if you want. 51% of households in the U.S. only have access to one ISP, which they pay to use. So they don't have a choice if you want the internet.
That's right.
You have to go through them. I mean, I had to use Comcast pretty much in my neighborhood until just recently. And I live in a city, and I live in Portland. But I was still, that's all that was around there if I wanted high-speed internet.
Think about everything that you've typed into your browser over the last month or two. And think about whether you would want other people to know that you did that. The next thing you know, you're getting free samples of Valtrex coming to your door. Like, I mean, depending on your health situation. I'm just saying, like, this could really get ugly.
Someone in this room. All right. Well, yeah, it's true though. I mean, whatever you search, that's on there. So it's definitely an important issue. And like you said, there's a good deal on that at shop.digitaltrends.com. There's a lot of info at digitaltrends.com too about this, and some great. Sounds like we have some really knowledgeable people that are watching. So I'm going to go back through and read your recommendations that you have for VPNs as well, and see those. We do have to move on. We've got a bunch of topics to get to. Like I said, I keep saying this: the best use of a drone ever is coming up. However, we've got to get to Elon Musk. Every week, Elon Musk has something else that seems like he's doing, and now he's going either completely crazy or he's a crazy genius. He has bought into another company. He's supporting another company, and it's called, I want to get the name exactly right, Neurallink. The company is called Neuralink, and this is leading up to, I have a question for everybody to see if they would be willing to do this. So the company is working towards a brain-computer interface venture. So they just to get this out of the way, they're developing the capability to implant AI-equipped devices into the human brain to further make humans and AI more synergistic rather than AI taking over us. And actually, one of the things in there they talked about, maybe if this would be a way from keeping us down the line from becoming a house cat to super intelligent AI, where they're merging everybody together. This is Elon Musk. This is what he's doing.
Assimilate.
Exactly. Those that do not assimilate.
One step closer to the Borg.
Yes.
Thank you, Elon.
Totally. That is totally it, too. That's how I was kind of looking at it. Although, here's the thing. So, and we've got some examples of some companies that are already working on this. You know, you've probably seen some things before of, especially we've got a video here of a person who was paralyzed and they had something that was implanted into their head. The technology's all there, and at digitaltrends.com you can read the story. But essentially, they use the brain waves. He's able to move his limbs and feed himself and use utensils. So it's kind of a good use of merging with some AI. Elon Musk's intentions are, I don't know. I think it's just let's beat them before they beat us and take it over.
Which is not a bad premise.
It's not bad. Would you be willing to do it, though? Would you be willing to try this? Drew, we already know, I think.
Yeah,
we have
totally.
video of Drew. Drew's already got implants.
I mean, I'm not going to be like an early adopter. I don't want to be like the first guy who does it. But like, yeah, sure. Like once he figures out how to make his neural lace and make it work, then yeah, I'm on board.
You would let him
Oh, absolutely.
implant you
I mean,
to
yes,
merge?
only him though. Personally, Elon Musk has to do it.
He actually cuts open your scalp and lays it down. Now, wait. So clarify for me, what is this? Is this an implant in your brain, or is this like one of those dorky shower caps with a bunch of electrodes and wires coming out of it?
What the company is that he bought into, what we just showed on screen, that's a different company, but just kind of an example of something. This would be implanting it in your brain, I think, is what they're working towards. They're not there yet, and they don't have anything public to show for it. This is just what their statement is as far as what they're doing. But you know, if Elon Musk is backing it, it's probably legit. Then they're working to implanting it into your brain, so you're more basically a symbiotic relationship. You're becoming the Borg with artificial intelligence to help enhance humans' abilities. So that's what they're going for. Holly, would you be an early adopter of this?
Definitely not an early adopter. I mean, this is just reminding me of what's the movie with basically like where you go to bed and you don't know that you just became part of an army overnight and you wake up and have no idea what you did. That's what I see happening for early adopters. But eventually, if this becomes widely used,
Black Mirror, I think.
you're going to have it. Otherwise, you'll be at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good point. Yeah, because I mean, if everybody else is doing it, yeah, if you don't do it, then you are going to become, you know, the lapdog for whoever else has it. So I guess you have to make that choice at some point. We have to make the choice. Would you do it? That's what I'm asking everybody watching. Would you want to try this? Would you be willing to have something implanted into your brain like Elon Musk is advocating down the road?
Well, for me, it's a moot question because by the time this becomes a reality, I'll be dead.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it at all.
I don't know.
Unless I'm really old and senile, maybe I've got some issues with Alzheimer's, and if it can help me out with that and put me back in the game, why not?
I don't think it's that far off, though. I don't think it's that far off that we can have something like this. I mean, like that demonstration of the person who was paralyzed, and there's other demonstrations of this too, where you're able to, have control over your limbs, and that's modifying the brain and understanding brainwaves. I don't think we're that far off.
Well, I'm interested
having
in
something-
seeing the trials on the lab animals. So the world's smartest mouse, rat, chimpanzee, whatever, we're going to start seeing some crazy stuff, I think, when they start trying this out. Because, I mean, you have to get over the whole putting stuff on a brain thing. That's a really dicey deal. I know that, neuroscience has advanced significantly, and we're doing some amazing stuff, with open brain surgery. But this sounds like a really challenging thing to do correctly.
Yeah,
it's still mostly theoretical, isn't it? Like, it's all like this whole idea is based off of the talk that he gave a while ago about his neural lace idea, and I think it's less of like an implant where you get like a surgical procedure, and more of like it just like they figure out a way to like insert it and grow it in your brain. Without,
Every time you say neural lace, I just think lingerie for the mind. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that word. Can we call it something else?
It's like whiskey mist talking right now.
It's like when the cloud came around. I was like, don't call it the cloud. That's stupid. Call it something. Neural lace doesn't work for me. So if we could go ahead to get to work on coming up with something different.
Same thing with calling it an Android. I'm like, that's not an Android. That's a phone.
Let's just call it the Matrix and be done with it.
Oh, be over with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there is an example of another company that was just to get on this just a second. Then we're going to get into drones. And one final thing that I'll have another question for everybody too. There's researchers from Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. This is another use of this. They're developing a technology that enables humans to control turtles with their minds. That is a legitimate story. That is at digitaltrends.com right now. So it's an interface that combines features from brain-computer interfaces and computer-brain interfaces, and it signals. Oh my gosh! It basically you can control turtles with your brain. That's something that they are legitimately working on. That is out there right now.
Just for the sake of science.
Just
there's
because.
No legitimate reason to be doing that other than let's see if we can get that turtle to swim around. Yeah.
I think if you slap a laser beam on its head,
we go.
Then we're on to something.
Clearly,
I would place my pre-order for an attack tortoise just like that. Tactical attack tortoise.
We'll
call it the TAT. And it'll sell like hotcakes. You guys in with me on this?
All right.
I'm sure the Navy just heard all of that. And they're already writing huge
They're like, dude,
contracts.
way ahead of you. We're already on this right now.
Yeah.
Get this guy a contract. All right. Well,
Navy SEALs will be actual SEALs in the future. That's what we're looking at right now.
It's just a room full of guys controlling it. Yep. There we go. All right. Well, let's get on to something else. This is the drone thing. We've all been trying to figure out what to use drones for, and now it appears we've come to the pinnacle of the technology and what it can be used for. And it's a company who's figured out how to use drones to pick up dog poop, and that's the bottom line. It's called Tinky. It's a Netherlands.
Yes.
Netherlands.
Yes, they called it Tinky.
Tinky.
Perfect. Thank you, Netherlands.
Dutch people.
So I guess this guy was at a meeting for entrepreneurs, and he had an idea of, essentially, he didn't like picking up dog poop, and he started talking to another guy who was working with drones, and together their minds came up with this, a 2-drone solution to picking up dog poop. Now, the way it works is there's one drone that it's actually a drone and a robot team to solve this problem. And the video kind of shows it. There's one drone that'll fly around, and it uses infrared sensors to find fresh things that are in your yard.
Dog turds. You were dancing around it. That's what it's looking for.
Hot dog turds in the yard. And they even have a picture of showing what an infrared dog turd looks like.
What animal craft that out?
Dutch dogs. Dutch dogs do that, I guess. I don't know. And so it flies around the yard looking for this, and once it finds a hot dog turd, it alerts the robot that with the videos, this robot screaming through the yard, it's rolling around the ground to quickly take care of the issue. It uses a vacuum. I guess they tried one with little arms that would scoop it up.
Then you run into all kinds of consistency problems.
Yeah, they said it wasn't clean enough, so it's got a little vacuum on it.
You can just see the hydraulic arms coming in, squishing it between his hands, and then whap, just like throwing it halfway across the yard.
That was generation 1.
That's Gen 1. Didn't work out so good.
This isn't going to work.
Let's go with a suction principle, and we'll actually suck the poo up. If this works for dogs, I don't see why it wouldn't work for cats. But I think can they scale this and get this up to like horse or hippopotamus level? I feel like
theoretically, yeah,
the
zoos
zoos
could use this.
Would really be down with this.
I think there's an endless possibilities here of what we could be using this technology for.
The thing I love about it is just how over the top. It's just a huge engineering challenge that these guys went through for nothing more than just picking up dog poop. Like,
Yeah.
And it has to be fresh. That's my main issue. It's
Generation 2, they're thinking of different ways to do it. So it's not just like thermal cameras. They're using like machine learning,
Oh my
like computer
God.
vision algorithms to like that can see the shape of a turd and like, oh, that's been sitting in the sun for a few days. It's starting to turn white. We better pick it up.
Never has turd been mentioned more times on this show.
That shit wouldn't work in my backyard, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm constantly mistaking various pine cones for turds in my backyard, and I feel like you could really fool this technology. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to really work, but it's a noble effort, and I applaud them.
I'm just
now let's
somebody's
train some
working on the
eagles.
problem.
Let's train some eagles to swoop down and do that instead, because we've
Oh,
already
yeah.
got them attacking the drones.
That's
Might
true.
as well get them attacking the poop too.
That's true. All right. Well, there we go. We've got some.
Or
we've
you
got all
could just
kinds-
have kids and make them pick up the dog poop as a chore, which is what most people
Yeah.
seem to do.
how
make
much does
kids
this
do it.
drone cost?
I don't know if they have a price on it yet.
I mean, it's not like
I mean, it's the drone robot.
It's totally
system.
a prototype
Yeah.
system
It's in
right now.
development.
Like the drone that they were flying around, I think was a DJI drone that they had modified.
Oh, this
for their
will
own
get
purposes.
sold. Somebody's gonna back this. You know
Somebody
someone's
who's just
gonna back
fed
this.
up.
Yeah.
They've had it up to here with the dog turds.
Oh yeah.
Elon Musk pipes in. Yeah, I'm going to go for that.
What if you could control it with your mind? All right. All right. Final thing here that we're going to talk about today. And thanks everybody for tuning in. This is, again, Trends with Benefits, our weekly roundtable podcast. This is just a proposal that I had, and it's a use of technology that's for a new theme park that's going to open up in Japan. And it's a pod that floats on the water. And the whole idea is you sleep in it, and it freely floats overnight out to an island 4 miles away. They don't explain how it's going to work, but you're just set adrift in this pod, and then that's it. Have a great vacation, and presumably you float, and then you wake up near an island where they scoop you up. My question is, would you be willing to do this? I would totally do it. I will totally be set adrift.
I'm sorry for the dead
in a
air
pod.
just now, but like, why?
Because it's adventure, I think, is what they're going for.
Adventure in a pod.
Because Japan, for
Yeah.
one, and I don't know. I just don't get it. People generally look. I used to work on cruise ships, and these things have massive stabilizers, and all this tech to help you keep
Yeah.
from getting motion sickness or
Right.
seasickness.
That's what I was wondering
I don't see this working out at all for anyone.
Also, the concept was a sphere. That doesn't look terribly buoyant or seaworthy. Like that would just roll over and then the bed falls on you. Like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're thinking about these
Just
things.
have
but,
kids
like,
in jet skis messing with you.
You
like,
gotta think about the seasickness aspect, or I'm just not gonna do it.
You're out.
Well, and what if it gets stormy or there's a sudden tsunami?
Well-
you're gonna find yourself halfway in the mainland.
Actually, you may be safe.
that
Maybe
might
the
be
best
true.
place to be. Yeah, they're saying it's going to go for $315 a night in order to stay in
That's
this thing.
reasonable.
Now, this same company also had a couple of other hotels. A couple of years ago, they made one that was staffed entirely by robots, which I guess one of the features was a robot dinosaur checked you in and facial recognition for locks. So their whole thing is making gimmicky hotels.
They're going places.
Yeah.
All right.
A velociraptor meets you at the front desk.
Robotic Jurassic Park. Yeah, I think that's essentially what
I think
we're-
we got to keep an eye on these people. They're going places.
They're up
These
to
are
something
great
right there.
ideas.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll go there. I'll stay in there. Well, I don't know if I want to pay $315, but
Looks a little claustrophobic.
yeah.
I don't
For a
know.
whole
Wait,
day?
can we see that image again? Because I believe that was like a queen size bed just at the very tippy top right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you
That's
sleep at the
actually
top.
a gigantic pod, isn't
And
it?
down below, underwater,
Yeah.
you've got more things like a living room. I don't know. I'm presuming there's a bathroom in there and somewhere. But yeah, so you've got some more.
This reminds me of the whole hamster ball thing.
Yeah.
And that actually sounds like a more fun time. Like if you put me in this thing and I can actually, run around and
It's powered by you.
powered by me. That sounds, and plus you get exercise.
Well,
So-
there you go. All right. Well, there's the idea. That's out there right now. It's Japan's Huiten Bosch Park. That's the name of the company. So they'll be coming out with that. I'll go stay. I think that's about it for today. I think we've accomplished a lot here.
We have.
Today. We've talked about everything from AI to dog poop. Or as Drew said, hot dog turds. So thanks everybody for tuning in, though. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly roundtable podcast where we talk about everything in the week that has to do with tech, some of the stories that we get, and we love to hear from you too. You can always send an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher for the audio. audio version, or you can always watch the live version when we go on video on Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow is Between the Streams, another podcast, live video show here at Digital Trends at 2 p.m. Pacific. So tune in for that one. And thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode.
Whiskey Mist.
Whiskey Mist.